It's Monday, December 31st, 2012, and let's talk about what happened this weekend over at XDADevelopers.com. First up, device and ROM update news. The HTC One X Plus received a lot of love this week. XDA recognized contributor and developer Lil Loire has released two different ROMs for the device this week. First one is a pure AOSP ROM based on Android 4.2.1. The second one is an unofficial version of CyanogenMod 10.1. Apparently, the only real issues that either of these ROMs have to do with data and the camera, and they're kind of hit and miss. Some people have the issues, some people don't, at least with regards to the data, and the camera issue seems to be kind of a common thing with the newer versions, CM10 and CM10.1 and AOSP 4.2 anything. Additionally, XDA senior member Max Wynn has been working on an AOKP offering for the HTC One X Plus. There appear to be a bunch of small issues that are again kind of hit or miss with this one. There are some camera issues, there were some weird things with paid apps on it, so do make sure to read up on whichever one you decide to try out and just see if you're going to have these kinds of issues, what you should expect. Additionally, this weekend it came out that an official version of CM10.1 has been released for the Nexus 7 3G. That's thanks to XDA senior member Eek1080, and realistically it is pretty feature complete. Being that it's a Google device, that is sort of to be expected. There are some issues getting Picasa Sync to work, and there are some weird little things with the quick settings that are being worked on. The Picasa Sync, there is a fix for that available, you have to flash it separately though. And also there is an unofficial port of CM10.1 to the ZTE Blade. Definitely not familiar with the ZTE Blade specifically, but I've heard a lot of good things about ZTE devices, and actually I heard something that they were going to be making a bigger, having a bigger presence in the US starting in the year 2013, so we might start to hear more about them in the coming year. That CM10 port was done by Modaco's Constat. It's also supposed to be pretty feature complete even though it is unofficial. The biggest things that aren't working are Bluetooth and Bluetooth tethering, Wi-Fi tethering, USB tethering, although the Wi-Fi and USB tethering can be accomplished with a third-party application. And the FM radio, which honestly I've only used once or twice in any device, but apparently it is a pretty common thing for people to use, so that could be a bit of a bummer if you have that ZTE Blade to not be able to have it on this version of CM10.1. However, Constat himself has said that this is not to be considered a daily driver, it's only for advanced users, developers, and testers, most likely because it's not 100% ready and there are a lot of perfectionists out there. Again, for more details, do make sure to check out the forum threads. Links to all of this stuff will be down in the video description, at least to the portal posts, because you can get to all of that from there. Now, moving away from ROM updates and onto some interesting news. The HTC HD2, yes, I'm going to talk about it again. It refuses to give up. XDA Elite recognized developer Kotula has a long-standing track record with the HD2 and specifically with Windows Phone devices. Well, he's gone ahead and sort of made history with it again by putting out some images that show that he's gotten Windows RT running on the HD2. Windows RT, if you're not familiar with it, is essentially Windows 8 for ARM devices. It was sort of designed to work on the Microsoft Surface, to be sort of the augment to Microsoft's Windows 8 desktop, laptop, whatever platform. So to see this running on a 3-year-old device is pretty spectacular, although I would sort of wonder how the performance is, although because it is an open device, a completely open device, means that it is a lot easier to get stuff ported over to it than things that still have closed and proprietary things on them. There are no real full details as to when it's going to be coming out, if you can get your hands on it, anything like that, but there is a gallery of screenshots you can take a look at, and of course you can follow him over on Twitter. All of that information can be found through the portal post as well. Now, speaking of things moving in a more open direction, making things a little bit easier for end users, Sony has been making some amazing strides in the last year or so. I do believe they were our vendor of the year for 2012. I seem to remember seeing that in a post somewhere, and actually I think I saw it in another video by Jerdog. And actually, most other vendors will not provide you with any sort of assistance or tools or anything to help you with your device if you break it by doing something stupid. Samsung sort of released Odin, but they didn't actually release it. It just sort of leaked out mysteriously, so it's hard to really count that. But Sony has taken that extra step, and they've released an app they're calling Emma. Currently, it's only working on the Sony Xperia S, the Arc S, and the T. But it is said that it's going to be working on more and more devices as they release, and actually more devices than that, so they might be doing it on older devices as well. And essentially what this app does, what this tool does, is it's a return to stock button. You have to have your bootloader unlocked, you have to be running Windows and have Java installed, a specific version of Java that works with it, which would actually make me question as to why you'd have to be running Windows. I'm guessing there's something in the tool that specifically queries for something within Windows, but That shouldn't be necessary given that it's Java, but whatever. But to be able to take your device that you've somehow screwed up, you've managed to get it into a boot loop you can't get it out of, or you've got it in maybe a weird deep sleep mode or something, I don't know, and to be able to recover it using a tool that is provided by the manufacturer, that's above and beyond, in my opinion. It's keeping their devices running when they could be trying to peddle new devices to you. That's helping the developer community. That's helping the end user community. That is the right step in the right direction. That's progress. The tool is still to be considered in beta, so do make sure to head on over to the forum thread and get some more information on it and see current status of it and see how other people are doing with it. But if you're having a problem with one of the devices I listed earlier, you might want to take a look at this and see if you can get back to stock and start over. And the last story I wanted to talk about today has to do with another XDA TV producer, XDA Elite recognized developer, and whatever else he is today, Adam Outler. As you may or may not remember, Adam received the Samsung Galaxy camera not too long ago. He did an unboxing, he rooted it, he did all sorts of video tutorials on it and showed you all the stuff you could do with it. Well, he's done one more thing with it. He started using it to make his videos here on XDA Developer TV, and as a part of that, he came to the realization that at the distance he sits away from the camera, the microphone, not so great. I'm using a DSLR here in my home, and I've got a microphone hooked up to it that's approximately 12 to 15 inches away from my face, so I get some very decent audio that way. The way that he's got it set up, there is no external microphone, and there's no external microphone jack. There's just the headphone jack. Well, what he determined from that is a 4-pole Samsung headset connector has different places with different types of connectivity. He figured out what was what, he wired some stuff up, found, with the help of Rebellos, the code that shows you what sort of resistance you need to have to make it work with a true microphone, made a little adapter, and now he's got a way to hook a 3.5mm, actually it's not 3.5mm, it's 1/4 inch microphone into it. So he's got a relatively inexpensive, I think it was a $30 microphone he's hooked up to the camera using this little adapter, and actually the audio sounds pretty good out of it. So if you have a Samsung device specifically, you might want to take a look at his tutorial. It essentially goes through how to add a resistor to an existing cable. You cut a pair of earphones in half, and then you add a resistor to it. You add the 1/4 inch connector on the other end of it, and that's most of the work. You'll have to get all the specifics from his thread, but just something I found very interesting, to be able to take essentially what is a phone on steroids with a camera lens on the end of it and use it as a full-fledged recording device with decent sounding audio makes it much, much more useful to a person like myself, to a person like a lot of you guys might be, people who are amateur vloggers. So if you're a bit of a hardware hacker and you're interested in trying this out, head on over to Adam's thread for all of the details. Anyway, that's going to be about all from me for today. As always, make sure to like this video if you like this video, and hit subscribe, which is apparently down below or to the side or the above or on the, there we go, XDA Developers YouTube page. That's probably the best place to find it if you're interested in receiving our content as soon as it becomes available. As always though, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on Friday.